to NERDtv for another broadcast of the Mach-1 Performance Full Throttle Sim Racing Series here, and this time at the 1.5 mile, very not so beloved Texas Motor Speedway on the new repaved surface. I don't know why they should just use the old one, because this one to me is atrocious, but these guys, all 31 of them, we're going to try to tackle this thing and try to see who has the fastest car around this track. Weather right now sitting at about 96 degrees on the track surface and 65 in the sky. So the air temp is pretty cool in perspective for being a late September in Texas. So maybe these guys will utilize that grip later on as the track does cool off, and maybe we'll see two wide racing. That'd be a surprise at Texas alone. So needless to say, to your left-hand side of your screen is going to be myself, Jay Stan, and returning after a few weeks, Mr. Pushibianek. How's it going over there?
It's going pretty good. I think you nailed it on the head there with the Texas, not so beloved as we saw yesterday, including myself. No. I hated the race with everything going on, but I think we'll be a little bit better, especially being 33 degrees cooler than it was yesterday. But I think it'll be a lot better than what we saw yesterday in real life.
I really hope so. I mean, Texas needs to be bulldozed. They need to rethink the car as far as like short tracks go. That's coming up. Martinsville is going to be a great one. But yeah, Texas is no. Everyone says bring back the old style. Just don't make it in Atlanta. Don't make it what it's currently at. It needs to be changed up. But I think these guys at FTSR are going to figure this out. We're going to see some fun racing. I can't guarantee you, not because of the lack of talent, but more so of just the track type and what this thing has become. But practice right now. We see the usuals up there. We see the newcomer, his fourth race in, Stan Carnathan, coming through right now. P2, of course, P1 is Nicholas Moreau. He's got a competition this year, Kenny, for season 2022C. Paul Bergoli has started off hot. He's got the last two wins out of the first three races of the schedule. And the one race, the first one, he did not win. He led the most laps. And he finished second. So if that says anything, he's got a really fast car. Nicholas Moreau is only 13 points behind him. So complete flip over as far as the points go. Where we saw Richie and Chuck going after it in Season A. Now Season C, it's all about Paul and Nicholas up to this point.
Yeah, and the funny part about all that too is you might take home the C championship, but the playoffs is really where it matters right there. So they're not even in the the final 12 that we got going on right now. So they're kind of two little battles going on in two different segments here. So they got that battle, and then we still got Richie Cooley reading his teammate Brody Hanna in the playoff standings by 16. He's actually tied with Ryan Hedrick too, with 16 points back. So a little close battle there, battling for second right now in the points.
I left your left side there for a moment. My camera got super fuzzy, so I got to figure that out. But you guys did not come here to watch my face for sure. Anyways, we'll get that fixed real momentarily. These guys got about a minute and a half left in practice, and I'm expecting a first time winner. I see Stan up there. He's running really fast, and then Brody Hanna, of course, he's looking to get his first win of the season. And then Vachon just keeps getting better and better. He's outdoing Nicholas Moreau, his teammate, I think almost every single race this season. So. It's only a 10-race stint this time around, so we're about a third of the way through at this point, and it's starting to show that some drivers have flip-flopped around here.
Yeah, what do you mean Brody Hanna running top three when he hates this car? That's just typical Brody fashion, running these next-gen cars, battling up for the lead every chance that he gets, and after you hear him after the race, still doesn't like this car, but we love watching him out there racing because he's pretty dang good in them.
I think he has a little love for this car. He won't say it, and he always dogs it. But at the end of the day, I think it was like 4 or 5 weeks ago. He was like, I think we found something. I just got to get with the team. And from that point forward, I have not heard him make a bad comment about the car. I don't know if he'll admit a good comment, but the bad comments have kind of died down on his department, and it's showing. He's been faster than Richie as well. So he has found something his teammates have not for this third season of the year to close out the year 2022.
Yeah, there's not too much you can complain about when you're running second in the playoffs, 16 points back of your teammate there. Richie, where you've been mentioning, he's been kind of outrunning him a little bit. So all it takes is a little misfortune on Richie's end and a little good luck there on Brody's, and we could have a change up in the points. And like I said, Ryan's right there as well. Ryan's sitting third, tied with Brody, 16 points back. So 31 cars in the field. That's a big change if something happens early. We've seen it happen with these guys in real life in the playoffs.
Yeah, it's definitely for sure. And there's tons of ground, and there's a lot of different variables of tracks out there left over, so we could see some flip flopping still. But these guys have kicked it over to qualifying, so this is actually going to be kind of like the end of the Martin Sports pre-race show. Love to give you some shout outs to sponsors that allow us to do this for you guys every Monday night. A little bit different change up too. We're gonna tag along with some drivers and watch their qualifying times. But I always like to shout out the league first and foremost. FTSR, thank you for letting us do this every Monday night for you guys. The Premier League for the full Mach-1 Performance Series, and if you guys want to be a part of the action, we've got 31 cars again tonight. I think there's 30 cars, all 3 races so far in this last season of 2022. So please make sure to sign up, FTSR.net, and you're going to sign up on the iRacer Hub. Create your team, purchase your charters, and hire your drivers. It's a pretty cool system. No other league runs it, and it works pretty damn well, I would say, in my book. So once again, that's FTSR.net. And then shout out to Mach-1 Performance, the Cup Series sponsor every single Monday night. If you have a short track car and you need some fabrication work, head over to facebook.com/Mach-1 Performance. And if they're in your area, make sure you get your car taken care of by these guys. They've produced championship winners from the SCCA, NASA, and more. Once again, facebook.com/Mach-1 Performance. And then lastly, Sim Racing Points, official truck series sponsor. You're going to find them every single Wednesday night. If you sign up with FTSR.net, this is the second most popular series that they got going on right now. We used to broadcast them for you guys last season, if you don't recall there. So, but for Sim Racing Points, if you want to check out everything they offer, they make your league basically a super professional style layout, gives you all the points, all the stats, everything that you need to display for your drivers and your teams. That's just your one-stop shop and place to go. You're going to head over to simracingpoints.com. And right now, looks like we're on board with that Nicholas Moreau machine who just qualified. Looks like P2 at the moment, just topped by his teammate Jonathan Vachon right after he'd crossed the line. So right now, that Moreau machine P2. Right now, you're on board with Williford, who's coming down to the road. And right now, Wayne Grossi taking his lap.
Yeah, you got pretty close between the top 3 here. Still got a couple guys on the track. As we see Wayne Grossi right there switched over. Got Simon coming across to take his on. We're probably going to be finishing up his lap here, see where he comes across the line. That's going to move him up to 12th. So not too bad, just outside the top 10.
Yeah, a lot of these guys have already taken their 2 laps. They're quick to go on this one. Right now, Joshua Johnson, he's getting his warm-up lap started up here, and see him as he coming to the line. This is for the green flag on him. We'll tag along. We'll see if Joshua Johnson has anything in store for these guys in queue here. Turn 1 coming down pretty good. This is what you got to do at Texas. You got to find the white line super early. And right now, he did not make that stick there. He's got to check up big time on exit. It's going to really slow down that speed here. He's got the reset for lap number 2.
This is with the points being, after 3 races so far, the points being so close now. He's sitting back there in 10th, Jeremy, so he's got to make up some ground. He's got Brian Bliss right in front of him. Sherwood's right there as well, both 25 points back. But Brian Dubois and Steven Loomis, they're sitting there 1 and 2 points behind him. So it's, with this playoff system, it's changing up the points a little bit and making everyone right there bundled up.
It for sure is, and right now we're on board for 10. He's just coming up to finishing his 2nd lap, rather, and it's going to put him at 29.731, currently P11 on the boards. I think most of these guys at this point have taken the lap. Got a newcomer to the 2022C, Mr. Casey McMullen. We have not shouted him out in quite some time. 2022B, I think he was completely just not there, and then I think he, with the last couple of races left in the season, I think he had backed out if my memory serves me right. So he is back in action for the first time in half a year. Let's see what he can do in that 71 to see if he can kind of say, hey guys, I'm back and I'm going to come be as strong as ever.
Yeah, nice looking paint scheme to come on with it too. He's rocking the old Darrell Waltrip paint scheme as well. So it'd be nice to see him out there again.
His painter needs to find the chrome number section and slap a chrome 71 on that door panel, and that thing is mint.
Agreed.
Looks like most of the qualifying laps have completed, and actually the timer is out as well. So the times are officially locked in for qualifying as these guys start to grid up. We're going to run down the official starting order for tonight's Texas Motor Speedway. 167, aka 167 laps, 50% of the actual cup schedule. Jonathan Vachon takes P1, and his teammate to his outside is going to be starting in second place. Third place, you're going to find Jonathan Varanauskas in that 27, and into his outside in fourth. You're going to find Paul Bergoli trying to make a three-peat. Fifth place, Chris Curtis. In sixth place to his outside, the 82 of Stan Carnathan. Seventh place, Brian Dublé. And to his outside, it's going to be that number 19 of Richie Coy. And to round out row 5, Josh Mayu in ninth place. Joshua Johnson rounds out 10th.
And starting row 6, you're going to have Ryan Chapman. Starting alongside him is Wayne Grossi. One row back of them is going to be Wayne Allen. Chris Beck on his outside as well. Starting 15th is Stephen Wu Allen, with Simon Magin in 16th right beside him as well. Sherwood Wilford starting off in 17th, with Steve Loomis rolling off in 18th. Brody Hanna, 19th. Not the start he wanted, but he's got his teammate right there, Tony Sawyer, rolling off in 20th.
21st, you're going to find David Courier. 22nd will be Martin Garreau. 23rd, Chad Lang into his outside, and 24th, Justin Diltz. 25th place, you're going to find returning also Gil Gauck coming back from knee surgery. He thinks he's able to do this tonight, and 25th is not a bad place to start. Maybe take it, easy the first half of the race, and then, progress on forward. And then 26th to his outside, James Wallace. 27th, they're going to find Alex Murphy. In 28th place, Ryan Hedrick. 29th, Casey McMullen. In 30th place, Brian Bliss. And to round out tonight's 31 car field, number 54 of Alan Crowell.
Here we got 3 cars that are inside this top 12 in the playoffs that didn't make qualifying runs. James, Ryan, and Brian sitting back there with no qualifying runs. So I might be taking it a little easy here and trying to just kind of see how this thing plays out in the beginning of the race.
And that very well could be. As much as we trash talk Texas here, I feel like this is one of the most important tracks when it comes to track position. It's just hard to pass here. There's no racing groove minus the bottom lane. So you really have to move the guy up. You have to put a lot of pressure on the guy to kind of slide up the track and pass him on the inside, because the outside it's near impossible. I think. I really hope these guys prove me wrong in the fact that they can get a second line going, but I just don't see it happening.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I hope it plays out a little bit different. We can kind of get that second line going as well. But we saw it yesterday. It was hard to pass at this place, and even here in iRacing, it's the same way on this track. It's just a little difficult track, especially with this new pavement on it and everything. Like I said, kind of switch it up a little bit. Maybe not go full Atlanta, but do something about it. But I think we're going to see a lot better racing either way than what we saw yesterday in real life with these guys here, especially at full throttle sim racing.
And it's half the distance too, so you don't have to watch 300 plus laps of a boring racetrack. It's only 167, but these guys will make the most out of it, and it will be entertaining regardless. Just waiting for that pace car to dip down, and we're going to get this thing rolling here. 97.
Yeah, I won't be wishing for it to end when it's a rain delay this time.
They haven't implemented that out here on iRacing, so you're a safe bet. No rain delays, but the 97 is taking the green flag for the first time this season over his teammate, that 15 on the top side there, as they're going to head off into turn number 1. Everybody's side by side still.
Yeah, side by side as they're entering 1 and 2 right now. You see the 97 here just pulling ever so slightly off of these guys. Got a great run off the corner. Almost a little bit of contact there and a couple cars back coming off of 2, but still keeping it clean as they're heading down to 3 and 4.
Yeah, everyone quickly single filed out down the back stretch. All the leaders one by one until you get back to around 16th place or so, maybe 17th, where you find Sherwood trying to pass Steve Loomis there on the inside. Outside that, you're on the nose right there of Stan Carnathan, trying to get around the 98. So he's trying to advance into the top 5.
Stan trying to put Chris in his rear view here. Love that car that he's got going on, the AC Delco. You don't see that very often anymore. fighting back on the outside as they're getting a little close there as they're heading off of 4. See if he can get a run here and get on by, but the 98's not giving up.
Nope, 98 holding strong right now. See what he can do to get around him. On the scoreboard, it's the 98, but on the car, it definitely shows a green 82. So a little mix up on his end. We'll call him by the 98 just because that's what we're seeing here on the live scoreboard. And Richie Coy quickly goes around the 98 there as well. Actually, I got that backwards. The 82 was passing the 98. New drivers, man, got me mixed up. Yeah, Chris Curtis here on the 90 just got passed by Richie Coy. He's got a pretty strong car. He wants to get back up there, quickly make it to the top 5 because that's where he's most comfortable is up there in the front.
We know where you're going with that. I was just kind of letting you ride it out and carry on. But yeah, Richie Coy rocking that M&M scheme there. He goes by both of those guys, no problem. That's going to put him up into that top 5 now as they're coming around this time by. And, Nicholas Moreau, he's been looking to make a pass on his teammate there, Jonathan, but he can't get there. As we saw yesterday, it was kind of like just keeping him at bay, keeping him at that distance. He's been getting great runs off the corner, but just not enough to get up to him and do anything. As we mentioned, it's hard to pass here.
And Nicholas is he's had more fall off this season in 2022C than we've seen in past. So hopefully he's got that thing retuned up for maybe a little bit longer run. Maybe he's read some notes off of his teammate Vachon, who's right in front of him. See what they can't do to try to work the field a little bit better as a team here instead of a huge separation. But right now those guys look pretty dead even. So I'm going to say it's going to be more of a battle between these guys later on the run.
Yeah, we'll see where all this plays out. You got even right behind him, the 27, Jonathan sitting fairly even with these guys too, not losing any ground. I mean, he's a couple car lengths off of Nicholas there, so they're all 3 kind of keeping the same pace these last couple laps. We've been keeping an eye on him, but Richie's slowly moving his way up as well. He just got around Paul, so that's going to put him in the 4th position. So Richie making some moves early. He's up 4 spots.
4 spots in a matter of 6 laps completed. So yeah, huge moves here. Not sure about the tire wear and how that's going to look. I guess Richie Coy will be our standard here as he's quickly flying through the field. Still only 1.5 seconds back here, race leader right now, Vachon. So I'm going to keep my eye out on Mr. Richie and see what his tires look like here toward the end of this run.
He doesn't have to worry about them blowing out as the engines are just 3 and 4. So we'll see how they go throughout the end of the race here and progress. I mean, like I said, we're still early, only on lap 8 right now. So so far, watching everyone go up through the field, he's definitely the one that's pushing it. But we know how he is on these long runs. He likes to stretch out those tires and the fuel as much as he can. So, he'll be a good one to watch. But at the same time, he's always very good with his tire wear.
Shots fired to the next-gen car with the tires blown out. If you're wanting to see if that's going to be a part of anything, I think, what was it, lap 33, lap 34 is when every time on a green flag run those tires would blow out, Ken?
You're about right. I mean, I haven't been very, hypocritical on these cars until yesterday, and it was just a show. But here we got a pass on the inside. Jeremy going for the lead here. Nicholas Moreau looking to go around his teammate there, and he's going to be able to complete that pass as they're coming back to the start-finish line. So we're going to have a new leaders are coming across, and that's going to be Nicholas in that 15.
Yep, first lead change this evening. This time, Nicholas Moreau is going to take the top spot away from his teammate and did not lose much ground to the 27. I just made a quick move of that, and about as clean as you can do it being teammates. So it's probably a little easier than some others, but quick transfer of spot in the 15. Now he's got a 3-car length advantage coming over to lap number 10.
So there's a little team communication there going on, but kind of looking back through, Jeremy, and it's got a little pack back here. We're looking just outside the top 10, and it's kind of like a little hornet's nest back there with all these guys kind of moving around, going high, going low. Stan went ahead and he took that spot back. It's going to put him back in the 9th position, move Joshua Johnson back to 10th. But right behind them, you see it right here on NERDtv. You can see all these guys battling it out. So there's quite a few back here that's trying to make some spots up.
Yeah, and it almost looks like they almost single filed right when they got the turn number 3 there. 44 trying to stay on the outside of the 14, Lane Allen. And so far, so good for that Ford Mustang. As you get the turn number 1, though, I think this is where we're going to see that difference. But the 44 just drives it in deep here in the middle of 1. gets to the exit. And this is where I worry about the checkup, how flat the track gets there on exit the corner. But he's able to hold the momentum over the 14 this time.
Yeah, I was surprised that he was able to hold it up there as he sent it pretty far into 1 and 2 there, and he just squeezes right back in behind the 14, keeps it going. He's actually going to look on the inside of the 14, I believe, here as they're going past the start finish line, heading into 1. Now he's going to got a little closer to the grass, but he's going to back it off and just kind of keep position. But he's making his way up through the field slowly. Actually, take that back. Chris Beck's actually kind of staying even right now, but right behind him, Jeremy Brody Hanna, he's moved up 4 spots.
Yeah, he's one of those drivers that you typically see in the front half of the field, so kind of being a little held up. I don't know if his car is running to the speed, and the 44 gets really loose right in front of Brody Hanna, saves it, goes through the grass, still going sideways, going through the front stretch grass again, still holding on, and finally collects everything, did not spin it out. Excellent driving there by that 44 to keep that thing going straight.
I think he might have hit the exit of pit road cone there. Hopefully that doesn't give him a black flag of entering pits. He's coming down. He might have got that black flag from it. That's unfortunate. He was having a great run there, and just got a little loose coming off the 4, and that's what happens.
Yeah, I mean, I was really hopeful that did not happen.
Oh, another one through the grass right there. 71. Casey McMullen.
Casey McMullen returning, and he's also going to mow the yard on the front stretch, just like Chris Beck did 1 lap ago. I do not think he crossed any pit line, so I think he's going to be okay, other than tires may be a little overheated. But outside of that, lost, I think, about 4 or 5 spots there. So we're going to kick it over to the NERDtv replay and just see him bounce all over the place. But he held a straight line. And what was that? And that cone that he ran over must have been the one from Chris Beck lap prior.
I was wondering the same thing. I was like, where did this cone come from? That's almost all the way down the front stretch. I was waiting for the replay to see, and all right. But yeah, he didn't get a penalty. He's still going. Lost quite a bit of track there. Yeah, he's all the way back in 29th where he started. All that ground that he made up, just lost it all right there. And hey, he's first race back in a while though, right? You got to knock the dust off.
You know what happened is they had the cone, the grate, the water drainage there. They're just kind of blocking it off for these sim drivers. That's all that was for.
Want to make sure when they're cutting the grass, they're doing it the right way.
You know, 2 drivers in 2 laps have shown the way. So, I mean, they've shown that you lose speed when you do that, you lose positions. I don't know if you want to continue to do that, but right now, that infield looks used up. As you see the 19 right now focused in on the guy right in front of him, which is the threat for the championship so far this season. That number 8, Paul Bergoli, currently running P4, Richie Coy P5. Looked like Paul was a little loose there in turn 2.
Yeah, got a little loose, it looked like, in 2, and Richie's teammate there, Brody Hanna, he's making a pass around the 57 there, Josh Johnson, so that's going to put him up another spot. He's making his way up through the field. He's just sitting outside the top 10, running in 12th right now, so he's making his way up through the field, and Sherwood's right behind him, Jeremy. He's been kind of following him up through the field this whole race.
Yeah, Sherwood's one of those guys to where he's getting better and better when it comes to being there at the very end of the run, or end of the race rather. So looking back right behind him, the 57 just got a little loose as well there. So the handling on these cars are starting to fall off quite a bit. 57, you saw him in the corner of your screen go really up the track, going to let the 37 probably take it by, but then the 37 gets the apron, gets a little loose as well. So these guys are going to be battling it side by side on the front stretch to enter lap number 21.
Got a battle right here for 4th position. Paul's trying to keep it. That was a close little call there. Him and who's that he's racing with? Looks like the 7 car? No, the 97 Jonathan right there. They're going at it there for that 4th position, and Richie's loving seeing this because he's going to try and make up as much ground on these 2 as he can.
Yeah, I think Nicholas and Jonathan kind of overheard me there. They have swapped, and Nicholas is now gone as this run continues to go, and Jonathan is starting to fall off, just losing a lot of speed there in the center of the corner, and I think that's where Richie's starting to try to make that ground up. You know he's in 5th, but he wants to get higher up. He needs to maximize his points if he wants to get back there and try to fight for any points contention so far this season.
Yeah, I think you're correct on that one. Nicholas is like, okay, yeah, you say my teammate's been, taking over, and I'm going to show you what's up. And Like you said, he's kind of just checked out. He's got 2-second lead now over the 27. Kind of showing off the Nicholas of last season.
Got a couple people in the chats as well. Don't want to forget to mention them. Looks like we got Robert Curtis rooting on Chris there. And then we also got Surfer Punkette. She's been here, Ken. I know you haven't been here in a couple weeks. She has been on this chat religiously rooting for Paul. And Paul right now definitely showing that steam once again, sitting in P3. Chris Curtis right now in P7. So the cheerleaders out there rooting for these top guys each and every week. Bring on as much chats as you want. We'll love to shout them out for you guys.
A great run here. Ooh, you can just see Richie's just sending that thing on these corners. He's coming off, just keeping it right off the wall, and he's got Wayne Grossi right behind him too. So Wayne's actually gaining pretty well here on Richie. I'm not sure if he's getting in a groove or if Richie had a little mishap there, but he was right on the back bumper of Richie there as they were heading to 3 and 4.
Wayne's had a really strong car again on the long run with that Gator Racing machine. He's got a teammate this time with Gil Gawk showing up, and he goes around Richie Coy. That's for 5th place. So dropped Richie back to 6th. That tire wear that we talked about early, he made that early charge passing some people. I think we're starting to see that kind of fade away here as we get to probably just at halfway through the fuel run.
Yeah, I see the 8 right there. Paul going around the 27. Jonathan Varnakis, he's going to take that 2nd spot away. He's going to put his sights on Nicholas in 1st place. Got about 2.5 seconds to run him down, but he's making his way through the field as well after starting in 4th. Only up 2 spots, but hey, you don't have much to do when you start inside the top 5.
You're not wrong there. While these guys are kind of spaced out, just quick shout out to one of our sponsors, iRacing, iFlag.com, the official flag partner for the Nerditudes. If you're looking to kind of complete your sim rig with a little flag marshaling system, you can attach it to any monitor, be it via a light strip, or you can mount it to any desk via like a little 4x6 3D printed unit. 64 LEDs, super bright, and gives you all the iRacing commands through a little digital box. Really bright, can't miss the thing. It's one of a kind. It's really cool to have. So if you're looking to kind of complete your sim rig, head over to iRacingIFlag.com. Super Nerd at checkout, 15% off their product. Going back through, some of the midfield here. We got really spaced out, but right outside the top 10, we have the 10 of Ryan Chapman trying to get around Josh Mayhew here in the 12. As these 4 cars are kind of close by, so we're making a little bit of an action, as we get to close to lap 30.
Yeah, we see right here on NERDtv, James Wallace sitting 4th in the points right now as we reset this round, and he's going around not 1 but trying to get around 2 cars right now. He's got the 50 there, Martin Garreau on his outside. He already got around the 4 Chad Wayne. He's trying to get around, with ease, going to go in front of him as well. So picking up 2 spots. Ooh, they thought they were going to touch there for a second, Jeremy. Picking up 2 spots on that lap and trying to make his way up to the front. He's sitting in 13th. He's just outside the top 10 himself.
Yeah, watch that reaction. Chad kind of pushed up the track. Garreau reacted to it. Then he got loose as he got basically onto the flat part of the tri-oval there, or quad-oval rather. So that was a close call for both those guys. Able to keep it off each other and going straight. But that kind of settles out the only real battle on the track until all the way back. You see a couple passes going. Chris Beck going through some lap traffic here he's the lap traffic rather, but he's got fresh set of tires, and you can see the lap difference. He's over a second faster than these guys, so he definitely needs to make up that ground. 3 laps down from that early incident there by Chris Beck.
Yeah, I want to. We see the 14 in the wall. I want to go back to that 67 there if we can of James Wallace. He's caught that 3-pack right there pretty quickly as he's gaining some speed, and Jeremy, he might be just outside the top 10. Once we get through this pit run, he's moving up into, I think he's in 18th right now, is where he's 17th now. So he's been picking off some drivers here in these last couple of laps, and he's trying to get up there as quick as possible. I know, we're spread out right now, we're on lap 30, but he's definitely has the car with some speed to get up there. He's been showing it since the start of this race.
Yeah, him and Gil Gawk both up 9 positions since the green flag dropped 30 laps ago. So that 85 and 67 are showing some good speed. They might be one of those guys that are like, hey, we need a caution. We want to reset and get these guys in the top 10. So I think we got the car to beat. Outside of that, the only really hard charger is Wayne Grossi, who's now up to 4th place in that number 7, only 3 seconds out of Nicholas Moreau.
Yeah, 8 spots gained. Heck of a run for him. As we see the 67 here looking on, trying to make the pass here on Tony as they're coming off the exit of the corner here, which I think he's going to be able to do that. He's going to have the speed to get on by him. He's good side by side. I think he'll be able to complete it as they head in the 1 and 2 here. But as you mentioned, it looks like he's just following Gil around the track, Jeremy. Just sweating him, pull him right on along, and they're both gaining the spot. Pretty much the same spot every lap there.
Yeah, they almost look like they're teammates of how identical their cars are running right now. But, you know, they're on the same mission here. 6-7 looks a little bit lower than Gil Gawk that time through turn 3. Quick mention, too, the number 7, Wayne Grossi, is just now past the 27 of Varanauskas, and so did the 97 of Vachon. So Wayne Grossi has now entered the podium spot there in P3, and followed by Jonathan Varanauskas in 4th now. Or Vachon, rather, in 4th.
Yeah, good run by those guys as they're, you know, fast. Not Nicholas Moreau fast, but they're pretty fast up there. I mean, inside the top 5, they're all pretty equal except for maybe Nicholas and Paul. Paul's run down Nicholas, Jeremy. I mean, when he got into that 2nd position, he was just under 2.5 seconds back of him, and he's reeled him into just under a second now. So he's slowly moving his way up into him and trying to get right on the back bumper of Nicholas if he can.
Paul is he's hit or miss when it comes to these long runs so far this season. I think last race he had his best long run car and was able to make that thing work. Let's see if he has that same magic here as we're on lap 35 now, scheduled 167. He did make up 2.5 tenths that time over Moreau.
Got one in the wall here. Front stretch right now, coming across the front start finish line. I have to look back and see, but yeah, hard into the outside wall coming off of 4.
Doesn't look like a caution was thrown for it, but we're going to try to go back and look for this wall impact for you guys here. Try to get you on the NERDtv replay.
Yeah, I'll take a look and see. It was just as they were coming off of 4, just took it right into that outside wall. I saw it was a red car. It could have been Joshua Johnson. I'll have to take a look back and see, but it was definitely a hard impact, whoever it was, but we'll see if we can find it for you.
Yeah, it's the number 46, Simon Magden. His car blinks out right before he hits the wall, plows it, and then his car reappears. So that's why we were a little confused, because his car disappeared at the moment of impact. It showed the smoke come in and everything, but we actually can't get a clip of that for you guys because, well, internet issues, I suppose, there for the 46.
Yeah, you know, technology. Yeah, I saw a red car just slap the outside wall coming off of 4, and I was like, oh, that was a hard hit. And then, like you said, it just disappeared. I lost sight of him. As we see, got a battle right here, Jeremy, for the lead here. Paul's going on the inside here of Nicholas as they're heading in the 3 and 4.
Making a good run for it. Great drive to the inside. Just the 15s found a little bit of grip to that outside there. I also want to make a mention, 18 also, Brian Bliss hit the wall the same time the 46 did. So there's actually a couple cars that had some red paint on there that hit the wall. But going back to the race lead here, this is it. This is for P1. Paul's got a really fast car on this run here. And Nicholas looking a little loose there off of turn number 2, not able to keep that grip down. Going into turn number 3, this seems to be the better half of the track here for Nick.
We saw he had a great run as he came off of 4 last time on that outside and going to be able to do it. Paul got a little wiggle there as he's coming off of 4, and that's going to give Nicholas just enough to get right back in front of him. These guys are still battling side by side this whole last lap, and continuing on this one is no give or take. You know, get a little bit of run on that entrance there, and that outside's trying to get a little bit of, like you said, Nicholas might have found something up there as he's still keeping even and kind of squeaking ahead of here.
Minus that exit of turn number 2, you've noticed how much space Paul is giving the 15 there on corner exit. He is hugging the inside half of that track as they come off of turn number 4. Once again, you see that huge amount of space outside the passenger window, and that's allowing that 15 to get that great launch. I think if Paul moves his lineup just maybe a car width more, it might have just enough grip to keep that momentum entering turn number 1.
Yeah, I think he just pinched him just a little bit there, not too much, but enough to slow down that momentum as you mentioned, and that'll give him to complete that pass. As we got a car down the inside now, sitting back in 5th place. Is that Jonathan? He might have just got a little close to the outside wall coming off of 2, but he dipped down pretty low there as they're coming off of 2. But Yeah, nope, got a little loose actually, as he was in 1 and 2, and that's what kind of sent him down the inside there.
As the race continues on for P1, Paul's got to try to change up his strategy. He now knows the 15 has a little something on that middle groove, and actually, 2/3 up the track, which at the pre-race I was hoping that someone would surprise me up there, and we are definitely seeing it right now as Paul has to kind of rethink. He moves a line up from the bottom to see if there's anything extra for his car, but right now Moreau's able to hold on strong to P1 on lap 42.
Right behind them, Jeremy, you got Wayne Grossi sitting in that 3rd spot, but he's still having a battle going on with the 97 of Jonathan there, who's trying to get back up into that top 3 as well. So Wayne's doing a good job holding strong there, as we see right here behind those 2 guys, but they're all within a good earshot of each other, as we see the 8 dive back into the bottom of the 15 here as they're heading into 3 and 4. Sorry, 1 and 2 on that one.
Yeah, he's just able to rotate so well off the middle of the corner and then off of 4. I've not seen that in many of these, in all these Cup cars, Xfinity truck. Like, there's just no grip up there. 1 and 2 is worse, I suppose, where it gets really flat, makes it really difficult for the outside line. But 3 and 4, little something up there for that 15, and he's found it. There's been tons of space given between, the side-by-side action here, and they're still able to clear each other on the exit of 4. So right now, Nick, I think, is the only guy who's found something, but you know what this is costing them? Some ground. You see the number 7, Wayne Grossi, you just mentioned them. They're now under 1 second away from these leaders. So the side-by-side's kind of, it's going to intensify this race for P1 even more.
Yeah, I mean, there's actually some pretty good side-by-side inside this top 10. Battling for 6th place right now, you have the 27 Jonathan with the 98 of Chris Curtis there. They're battling it out side by side as well, as we see here on NERDtv. And then right behind them, you got the 2 teammates, Richie Coy and Brody Hanna's making his way up into that territory as well, as he's slowly gaining ground on his teammate.
Yeah, and he was back there early on. We commented on him. He was on like 15th place, but now he's found himself in 9th. And yeah, that huge switch here as far as the strategy goes. Richie Coy's falling back. Brody Hanna is now pressed the go pedal and is moving forward in that machine, up 10 spots from his original starting spot, that being in 19th place. That was 45 laps ago, so the long run's definitely there for the 23. And you see the 27 and 98 still hashing out side by side here on the front stretch.
You mentioned it. I love hearing it. We're 45 laps into this run, and guess what? A tire hasn't blown out yet. Thank you, iRacing. So it's great to see these guys getting a good run here. I want to see these green flag pit stops, but I kind of also want to see this pack get bunched back up, because we see a bunch of different drivers who started in the back who's made their way up, and kind of want to see where all this is going to play out if we can get them all bunched back together. But we know how it is over here at Full Throttle Sim Racing. You don't see a lot of yellows, so I think we're going to be seeing some green flag pit stops.
No, the most we've seen caution-wise was last week at Bristol, which I think we counted 7. And then probably the next 5 races, you won't get to that number 7. So it's going to be very limited here. But the way that Paul's driving the 15 and the 7, catching up to these guys for the race lead, they can put themselves in a little bit of a situation trying to all go for that top spot here. And as we're getting close, really, to that pit window, I'm not sure exactly. I'm going to guess around lap 55 to 60. So these guys are kind of a little bit of an urgency there. As the 8 takes a really weird angle, and it really allows the 7 to check up under these guys.
He's trying to get a nice little run on him. I'm not sure if he's trying to switch up his line and see what's going to work the best for him, and see where he can kind of capitalize. But Nicholas has been good. Like you said, he had to work on the outside and was able to get a great rule, as we see him get a little loose there, him and the 7 of Wayne right behind him. So that's going to bring the 8 right to the back bumper of this 15, and then right behind them, that's going to put the 97 right there on the outside of the 7 of Wayne Grossi as well.
Deshaun trying to take back podium spot in P3. The 15 Moreau gets loose on turn number 2, and it's going to allow the 8 of Paul Bergoli to get to the outside finally. Let's see if he has anything here on 3 and 4 to kind of come back at the 15 and say, hey, I want this position. And it looks like the inside just doesn't have the same grip levels as I was expecting. It's going to allow the 8 Paul Bergoli to take over the race lead.
Yeah, he's definitely, this last couple laps, Nicholas has been a little squirrely there, and coming off the exit of the corner. So as we see him right here again, back end's kind of stepping out on him a little bit. So, I know you mentioned the pit window being possibly 55 to 60, but with, Nicholas might be looking to come down a little bit early, and we might see we're going to see what happens with these pit strategies, see if we have any early takers. I feel like as soon as we get a couple coming down, Jeremy, it's going to be everyone else is going to be coming down as well.
Yeah, Nicholas is kind of getting his breather right there and getting loose, lost his spot. So the initial battle for the race lead is over, at least temporarily. So he's just going to kind of reside back in fourth place, maybe hang out there until pit stops do occur. But that 97 coming on strong now to Paul, within 1 car length now, entering turn number 3.
I think he said, what battle for the lead is over? Here I am. I'm going to make my statement and try to get up here and get this lead. He's right behind Paul as they're coming off of 4. He's got a great run as well. Started out strong, kind of lost a couple spots. And, your pole sitter sitting, trying to get back in that top 1 spot, Jeremy.
He's working hard at it. And we see the 17 go super high up the track to let them guys go low. Too high. In fact, he scraped the wall in turn 1, but no harm, no foul there. But yeah, that 97 just gets a great launch off of turn number 2. Lifts just a little bit so he doesn't get right to the back bumper of the 8 entering 3. But you see the 8 just slide up the track, a little looseness there. Allows that 97 to get a great corner exit here through 3 and 4. And these guys are now side by side on lap number 53.
Saw Steve Loomis there in the 17, as you mentioned, went high, hit the wall a little bit. I think his tires are shot. He came down pit road right after that. He's going to take 4 fresh Goodyears, try to get back over. I think, I'll say Wayne Grossi there in the 7 blinked out for a second. Thought we lost him, but he's back in the action. Definitely don't want to have that happen when you're sitting there running in the top 3.
You really don't, especially running in the top spots with one of the fastest cars and have it all go away because of technology, as we like to call it. But the 97 got about 2 car lengths now over the 8 of Paul Bergoli. Paul just does not have that center rotation like he needs to catch that 97. That's going to allow that 7 car of Wayne Grossi now to soak in him about 2 car length separation.
Around the lap 55, Jeremy, so we're starting to get inside that pit window there. Probably seen some takers come down. As I mentioned, Steve Loomis, he came down. He got 4 fresh tires, probably fixed a little bit of that damage as he got into the wall there in 1 and 2. Like you mentioned, 55 to 60, we probably see these guys coming down, so we'll have to keep an eye on it. As we see 23 here, Brody Hanna looking on the inside of the 27, trying to take that 7th place spot away from him. He's on a mission tonight, Jeremy. I mean, he started all the way back in 19th. He's already moved up 11 spots right now. I think him and Gil Gawk, I think, are our biggest movers of the night right now.
Yeah, for sure. The 23 is on a huge mission, and green flag pit stops are underway. As you were talking there, the 67 of James Wallace made his stop, and he is exiting pit road. The number 14, Lane Allen, has now come to the service of his crew. And I think I heard a few other drivers also keying up here. The 19, Richie Coy, you see him on NERDtv right now, on the 85 of Gil Gawk, and the 37 of Brian Dublay. It's about 5 cars down pit road now, 6 cars with the 10 there of Ryan Chapman. Green flag pit stops underway.
Chad Wang right there with them, Justin Diltz. I mean, we can just keep naming them off because they're all coming down, Jeremy. You got pit road is a busy place right now. So, we got one that overshot the pits there. That was Brian Dublay, I believe, went a little bit too far in his pits, or that could have been Ryan Chapman, actually. So, that's going to cost him some valuable time there.
97 and 15 race leaders come down pit road this time. Looks like right now, Paul Bergoli is calling for his pit crew to be ready as he dips down there with the 82 also right behind him, that being Stan Carnathan. So a lot of 2x2 scenarios here with guys trying to make their pit stops. You see the 23 Brody Hanna and the 33 of Sherwood Williford coming to the service of the crew now.
It's going to be, you got the 47 Ryan coming off of pit road, but you got Paul trying, you see a little wiggle there trying to get through, and looks like someone else walked up the brakes there as they're trying to get on the pit road, coming in a little hot as well.
This would have been Formula One. They would have been calling for an unsafe pit exit, but we don't got to worry about that here at Texas with NASCAR. I've seen almost the entire field coming down the 12 making his pit stop. We saw the 11 of Tony Solari making his pit stop. You see the 03 right there on your screen. Good chunk of the field, servicing right at 55, 56. So this will be a 3-stop race, I do imagine, before this thing's all said and done, if it goes green all the way.
Yeah, I think you're right on that one. And there's a good chance it could go green all the way. I mean, these tracks especially, they like to spread out. As we see, we got coming down pit road right now. It's still going, Jeremy. We still got some takers. We got the 90. Is that the 98? Yeah, the 98's coming down right now. He's going to give up the race lead. Chris Curtis, Wayne Grossi sitting now. He's going to be taking over that top spot. So there's still some. I think, is Chris going to be the last one that's coming around, or maybe we got a couple more, I believe, actually, that still might be coming down.
Yeah, one of the very few left for sure. Robert Curtis in the chat can celebrate at least one lap led, but the 98 did overshoot a stall, had to throw it in reverse, so that's going to cost him 2 seconds here on this pit stop. And Surfer Punkhead also says, I want a turkey, meaning that she wants that three-peat from Paul Bergoli. Can he go 3 for 4? We got 100 laps to figure that one out. But yeah, most of the people have cycled through the 24. Stephen Lou Allen, you see him on your screen now. He is one of the very few people to pit. Him and Casey McMullen, I do believe, are the only two that have not cycled through. And this will resume back being Jonathan Vajan's race lead if it all kind of settles out.
Yeah, once this thing settles around, we'll see who's all on the lead lap as well. I know we had a couple people that were going a lap down before these pit stops started taking underway. At 17, we saw him go a lap down. I believe the 44 from his incident earlier, but we got quite a few right now. But I think once this thing cycles around, won't be as much. But you know, we've seen that before happen here, Jeremy, where these long green flag runs at these kind of tracks that we have, you know, Texas, Charlotte, things like that, you're gonna lose a lap or so, you know, with just the speed that these other guys are carrying.
Yeah, I'm watching like the 71 as he's getting just pummeled by the field on the faster tires. 2-second disadvantage, 2.5-second disadvantage between him and the fresh tire guys. It's a huge speed deficiency. You see him just crawling through 1 and 2, just letting the 33 just blow his doors off right there. I know he's trying to extend something. I just don't know if it's going to be worth the run with the amount of fall off that these tires are having right here at Texas. But
I think he's trying to come down now.
Yep, here he goes.
Thought he was about to lose it there for a second. It looked like the rear end was stepping out him as he was trying to slow it down coming off the corner, but he's able to come down safely. And yeah, as you mentioned, I think he realized the same time that you were talking about it, it's time to come down pit road. These guys are just blowing by me.
Now, Stephen Lou Allen still holding strong here with the race lead. In the past 2 laps, he went from a 12-second lead to a 5-second lead. That's 3 seconds a lap between the 24 and the going to be race leader, 97, Jonathan Vachon. So whenever that 24 comes down, he will probably be close to a lap down as he's going to kind of pinch off the 50. I thought maybe he was trying to come down pit road himself, but pit lane was closed as far as the traffic there on the bottom half of the track. So at least one more lap for that 24 before pit stops.
He wanted to come down. It definitely wasn't happening right there. Would have been definitely some bad timing on it, but you know, he could be hoping on, or he was maybe hoping on a caution there with all these pit stops, having someone maybe have an error, getting on or off the pit road and see what he can do and maybe gain some track position with some fresher tires than these guys. But as we see right here, you're going to have the 46 going around him as well. So I think he's going to be out there for another lap, Jeremy.
Yeah, one more lap first. And actually, you know what? As they get to the backstretch, maybe turn number 3, you're going to see that race leader, which is on your camera now. That's Mr. Jonathan Vachon catching him in the 24 lane, or Stephen Lou Allen, I think, is calling for pit road this time as the race lead is swapping. The 97 does pass him down the backstretch. Waiting for that 24 of Lou Allen to make his final pit stop.
And you could just see the difference that those new tires are making to these old tires. I mean, Steven had to slow it up big time there in 1 and 2, and Jonathan was just able to throttle down and get by him with ease. And Steven's now down on pit road. He's going to be the last one to come down pit road. And, you know, being out there as long as he was, Jeremy, I mean, he's lost quite a bit of time, I'm going to have to say, and he's going to be in danger of going a lap down, maybe 2.
Yeah, we'll find out exactly where he comes from as we come back from a commercial break. We're going to take our first commercial break of this evening, let these guys figure things out, and we'll be back after a few short messages.
wins.
4, 3, 2, 1, green screen. No laser grip whatsoever. Up sideways. Sideways everywhere. Come on, man. Do what you can. The vibration in this car is the worst vibration that I've ever had, and the shifter's broken again.
Are you ready to chase the moonlight? Community-based and talent-driven, Moonlight Speed Concepts has what you need to take your iRacing experience to the next level. Founded by passionate owners that care about the community and housing some of the top setup builders and drivers on the platform, Moonlight Speed Concepts offers custom paints, driver coaching, and setups for dirt, asphalt short track racing, and eNASCAR competition. Partnered with top brands in both real world and simulation. Follow us on Facebook or visit moonlightspeed.com and find out why these businesses chase the moonlight and why you should too. Moonlight Speed Concept, where all we chase is moonlight.
Welcome back to full screen coverage for the Full Throttle Sim Racing Mach-1 Performance Cup Series, and not too much is going on during that commercial break. Vachon got a 2-second lead over the 8 Paul Bergoli. Third place, you'll find Nicholas Moreau. Brody Hanna is still going to resume in 4th place after this massive late run there he had. Can hold inside the top 5, and in 5th place, 27, Jonathan Varnauskas.
You mentioned Brody with that good run there, sitting in 4th position. I think when he came down pit road, he was in 9th, came off in 7th, and then, since the last 15 laps or so, is able to pick off a couple more cars and put himself inside that top 5. He's one to look out here. Ooh, we got the 46 there on the inside again. We'll have to see what happened to him. I'll take a look back through and see what's going on with Simon Magnan, but it looks like he might have got a little loose coming off a 4, and another car going through the grass again.
Looks like the third car to try to mow down the grass. You see him get really loose off of 4. Cuts the first half of the grass off, and then his car disappears again. So we can't show you the exit until right there. He's back on the track now. Nice and straight. We want to see that. But yeah, definitely the handling has been kind of an issue here. We've seen a lot of cars get a little wiggly off each corner.
I want to know who his internet provider is, because they're looking out for him. They're like, hey, we see what happened here off of 4. We're just going to blank you out for a second. No one has to see this. get right back on the track. We'll call it a day. That's what I need to get in my life, is whatever internet he has. 'Cause that happens to me quite a lot.
That's a great call, and I didn't think of that part. But yeah, every time he has blinked out during some type of impact. So, yeah, if you find out any information on what kind of button box setup you can get from your ISP that says, hey, you can blink yourself out at this time, please let us know.
Yeah, I'm not trying to call you out. I'm just saying that's perfect timing on it every time. So I'd like to get on it, but it's probably going to be very frustrating for Simon, though. We saw him, that's twice now, coming off of 4, having some issues. Definitely not the night that he wants. He wants to get back up to the front. I believe he's coming off a pit road now, so he came down, made some either repairs or no. That's actually, I'm sorry, that's Brian Bliss that's coming back onto the track. I saw the red there. Brian Bliss is going to be actually coming back off now, but he hit the inside wall as he was getting ready to get back onto the track. So maybe he's coming back around because he's still hanging around on the apron.
You'll have to see. He hit that wall kind of hard there. That was at the same time Simon Magnon hit the wall the first time that we couldn't bring to you guys. Had a lot of damage to that car, so it might not just be, the handling could just not be there. Something still probably broke in that 18. He's coming back down pit road one more time, kind of sealing his fate, so to speak, here. He's already 12 laps down, entering the pit road. But I would say, Kenny, this race has kind of picked up a little bit outside of like the couple cars that are nose to tail. I've seen a couple of packs kind of form up and do some side-by-side, at least temporarily. Especially back here, I'd say 18th, 19th, 20th. Like, there's a decent amount of cars right now.
Yeah, like you mentioned, 18th all the way through 21st there. Those 4 cars are all within less than a second of each other. So, nice little group there. Other than that, though, it's, pretty much, if they're not right on the back bumper of the other car, they're spread out pretty good. And that's like I said, normal 1.5 mile tracks that you see. Once they do some green flag runs, everyone kind of gets separated, which is great when you're watching it because there's always action going by. You're gonna have a car going by at all times. Not great for some of the drivers, but great to watch here, especially on NERDtv, as we're seeing the action right here. Got the 71, Casey McMullen trying to make a pass on the 14 or the 31 as he's looking high and low to see who he can go around. Looks like he's going to follow the 14 here of Lane Allen and make that pass.
Yeah, right now Lane Allen is, or was the last car on the lead lap. Now it's the 31 of Alex Murphy. So those guys are battling for the very last spot. First guy, 1 lap down, Mr. Justin Diltz. He's praying for that Roasted Gems coffee. Caution break to see if he can get himself caught up with a lucky dog reward. Because right now, he's sitting really nice for it. He's got half a backstretch that separates him between the 0-3 of David Courier. So one of those guys looking for that first caution this evening.
Stephen Wu Allen, we saw him stay out there quite a bit longer than everyone else, and I thought he might have been pretty far back as far as these cars 1 lap down, but he's sitting just the 3rd car a lap down behind David and Justin there, so he's trying to make his way back in, and we know he's got a little bit better tires than some of these guys. He's coming up right on the back bumper of David. You see right in front of him there in that yellow and black car. So he's going to try and make that ground up, so he could have it. If there is a caution that comes out, that might be good for him. As see what a couple of other Simon Magnon, I went back and looked, Jeremy, and he's still fighting this car. He just had Tony Solari go around him, but this thing is not handling the way that he wants it to.
No, it definitely looks like it's a little out of shape right now. And quick shout out to the chat. So we got Surfer Punkit coming back this time, passing a shout out to somebody else, Mr. Bob Joyce, father-in-law for Bergoli, watching each and every week here on NERDtv. So, Paul, you got more followers again tonight. Even the ones who can't even chat in the chat box, you got them doing it for you. So, running P1 and you have the fan base, I would say things are going pretty well right there on that 8 camp.
Yeah, other than having that 15 right there behind him, and I'm wondering if Nicholas is just kind of sitting back and riding right now, or if he just doesn't have anything for Paul. But he's been sitting just about 2/10 back, Jeremy, since we had these pit stops. Paul was able to get around him, but ever since then, Nicholas has been kind of just hanging back right behind him.
No, this is going to be good for the first half of the run. The back half is where the 15 started to lose it really late in the run. It actually took him about 40 to 45 laps before that fall off finally showed up for Nicholas. So maybe made a slight adjustment on pit road, or maybe he's just expecting the track being a little cooler, playing a little more of assistance to him. Either way, the track is 8 degrees cooler than what it was at the start. So we are starting to see, some changes to this track, which could change up how the top 5 looks after this thing's done.
Yeah, and Nicholas is a smart driver too. He could be, as you said, changed something up on the car a little bit, or could even be changing up his driving style, maybe not pushing it as much, trying to save those tires, because he did have quite a bit of fall off there once it got towards the end of that run. So we've seen him, do this before, where he's out there and then kind of settles in and then gets going again. But he's getting right on the back bumper here of the 8 there, so maybe he's making his move.
Within 1 car length, but if you look right in front of them, they have a bunch of lappers or some people potentially going 1 lap down. Got the 50 and the 4 running side by side as they kind of clear each other on the exit of turn number 2. Now they're all single filed out temporarily, but this is going to be this is going to show what the middle lane has for the 8 and the 15 right now. We know Nicholas is strong up there. The 8's been iffy, gets a little checked up there off of 4. It's going to allow Nicholas Moore to make a great run here through the quad oval. Being a little held up right now by the 50.
He doesn't want to go a lap down. Don't blame him. He's trying to hold on as long as he can, but he's going to end up getting passed up here, and that's going to put him the first car 1 lap down, and he's going to try to hold on as much as he can, because he knows that Chad Wang's right up there in front of him as well, and he goes by Chad Wang. He's going to have to run him back down for the spot, but he's, the 8 there's picking everyone off and putting new cars 1 lap down. I mean, you see right in front of that green car of Wayne Allen. He's just a couple car lengths up in front of these guys as well. So,
what the 50 of Martin Guerrero needs to do is just get right to the back bumper of that 15, let him open the door for that pass on the 4 whenever that comes through. You see the 8 right now trying to get to the inside, just giving people a little too much space out there, and allows that 15 to stay within striking distance. It looks like he's going to able to finally clear the 4 this time around. Now the 15 has to make that quick pass, but that 50 is just still falling back, not able to kind of follow suit and take advantage of that gap there.
I don't think Martin's going to be able to get up there, and now you got to have, the other way around. You got to have Chad Wang trying to hold on with Wayne Allen right in front of him, and see if he can maybe make that move where he said he opens up the door and maybe he can follow him right on through. He's going to tuck in right behind the 15 there. Behind Nicholas is the 4 of Chad Wang. So a couple different, battles going on, trying to stay on the lead lap, trying to run down the leaders. Kind of looking back through as well, Jeremy, you see Wayne Grossi, he back into that 4th position. We know he has a great long run car here, so he's back in the 4th. Brody Hand actually lost a couple. He's back in the 6th place.
Yeah, I would imagine 6th place will not be where he's going to be in 20 laps. That number 23 is just too strong on the long run to fall back anymore. I expect him to be well within the top 5 in the next 20 or 30 laps or so. Right now, he's just taking an easy race all by his lonesome. He's got, a whole backstretch of free empty space on both sides of his thing. So don't count out that 23 just yet. I think he's got something in store for you guys.
Yeah, I think so as well. I mean, we might even be talking to him after this race ends of the podium finish. So that wouldn't surprise me one bit. And you know what is surprising me, though, Jeremy, is Richie Coy. Not that he's running bad, but started in 8th, still sitting in 8th. We saw him move up through the field a little bit. I think he was up at 4th position at one point in time, was his best spot, earlier in the race, but kind of fell back. But we're not used to seeing that. Richie they cut it over to another one, but 15 there of Nicholas Moreau almost lost it coming off of 4. He's on the inside there of Wayne Allen, trying to get around him to not lose any ground in the 8 car, and that was a little close call there.
Yes, take a quick glance at it. And the 15 with an excellent save there off of 4, trying to get around these lap guys, and finally does so as he passes the 14 halfway down the back straight. So now he's got only the 8 Paul Bergoli in his sights to kind of focus in on. He's got to cool them tires off, though. I'm sure those rear tires are now nice and warm. If he wants any grip, any long run advantage, he's going to have to take really good care now of those rear tires for the next 10 laps or so, and then maybe try to tackle that 8 car with all that extra speed that he has on his long run.
Yeah, great run by this 8 team. It's all race been either sitting in that top 3. Started in 4th position, as we mentioned. Not much room that he has to go up. Only went up about 3 spots to get to that first spot, and he's just been holding on. Lost a little bit on that pit stop, so I'm sure this next time by is going to have a little bit, try and get a better executed pit stop and not lose too much ground and see what he can do. But he's out there like that hurricane, Jeremy. He's just tearing it up right now.
Shout out to Cuba. Poor those guys right now, just getting pummeled with it. And that guy right there in the lead, Paul Bergoli, he is from Sanford, Florida. He's only about a half hour to 45 minutes away from us there, Ken. So little local driver here leading the thing. I won't hate on that one bit. And side mention too, if you guys are watching this and would love to have your league be broadcasted by one of us here at Nerditudes and NERDtv, head over to nerditudes.gg and get your league registered. Competitive pricing, and do a lot of extra work behind the scenes to make you guys look as best as possible. You're going to find us on Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook. We stream to all 3 services, so whatever your league's desire is, we got you guys. Once again, facebook.com//Nerditudes, or you can head right to the website at nerditudes.gg. And that 15 can, I think he's starting to reel that 8 ever so slowly back in. Kind of watching the lap times, and I think the last 2 of the 3 laps has just been a tick faster. So maybe there's going to be a little bit something here toward the end of this run.
Yeah, he might. He's coming on strong. We see those lap times, like you mentioned, kind of slowly increasing there. He could have been kind of holding it off. Had a little bit of lap traffic to deal with there. That definitely slowed him down a little bit, as we saw him got a little loose coming off of 4 as he was trying to get under Wayne Allen. But he's been able to put those guys in the rear view. Look ahead. I mean, we see right there in front of Paul, he's got about 4 cars to get around here. A couple lappers that's going to be, or 2B lappers. I think the 46 there, or Simon, we saw him in the wall a couple of times, so we know he's got an ill-handling car. So that might bring that 15 a little bit closer as he's trying to go around him. It all depends on how these guys catch him and go around each other. We saw the 8 do it perfectly on that last pack of cars that he's putting a lap down, and the 15 just got a little bit caught up behind him. So, and I think that's where you see that gap right now. Great battle though behind these guys here in the 15. Nicholas Moreau right behind those. They're lap cars. Just put a lap down recently, but they're still trying to battle it out and see how much ground they can gain. Back on pretty much racing with each other back there, and you got a couple of the lead lap cars as well that's getting their way through there. But little pack of 4s. We see the 8 going around the 46 here. Simon gonna put him another lap down. Unfortunately, the 15, Jeremy coming off a 2. He's getting a little sideways again.
15 is not liking his car. It's got some speed. He just got to be able to control what he has, and that car should be doing pretty all right. But right now, loose at Texas. We saw in the real life race yesterday. Not your friend here at Texas if your car's loose, and these cars are all over the place. I also wouldn't count out that Mr. Vachon there in the 97 and Wayne Grossi in the 7. Those guys actually, they backed up a little bit since the last time I checked into them. Wayne Grossi right now, especially in that 7. He's got a nice long run car, and I think he's got a little more steam ahead of him to try to pass these lap cars, try to get as much ground as he can on these guys before the next set of pit stops, which I think should be coming up here in the next 10 laps or so. So last little ditch effort here.
Yeah, I think the first round pit stops was around 55, 65, depending on who you are, if you're Stephen Wu Allen or not. But so about next 5 to 15 laps, we'll start seeing everyone come down. And like I said, we saw a couple change there with the 8 car. Lost a little bit of ground there on the 15 of Nicholas Moreau as they were coming down. So Paul wants to definitely get a better pit stop and keep this lead that he has. He's almost extended to a whole second now.
And that's exactly what Paul needs. He's keeping some lappers in between them as well, making quick work of the 37 and 10 car. Just everything that he needs going for him is working right now for Paul Bergoli, as we are 2/3 through this race. Lap 106, currently a 167. And yeah, unless you're Stephen Llewellyn at this point, you're on a different strategy. See what you can't do. But I would imagine at least for the top 5 guys, you want to just make sure you hit your marks perfectly. You guys are pretty spaced out enough. You kind of know where you're standing as far as, you know, position overall on the track at this point. Just make sure you hit your marks nicely and let the driving do for itself. Don't need to make up any extra ground on there on pit road.
These two have put quite a distance on everyone else too, Jeremy. I mean, you see they're within a second of each other, but you look behind them, Wayne Grossi, as we saw before these pit stops happened, you know, some 50 laps ago, they were right there. The 7 and I believe it was going to be the 97, Jonathan, was right behind those two leaders. And now look at them, they're sitting 4 seconds and 6 seconds back, just showing you how fast the 8 and the 15 are.
Whole different zip code. That's why we've kind of been highlighting them, because with the lack of, you know, side-by-side action going on the track, kind of just focusing on the leaders. And right now, they're two of the most competitive cars, you know, going against each other right now. I'm starting to see the 10 car. He's coming down for an early pit stop, so that might be a signal to say, hey, the green flag stops might be underway. But yeah, Paul and Nicholas definitely the showcase of the field tonight. Even though the 15's loose, he's fast and he's keeping up with that 8. So entertaining alone to see how that 15 is able to keep that thing straight around this racetrack.
Yeah, he's, you know, getting into this run. We saw the 15 last time, kind of dropping back a little bit as his car was handling. Ooh, got one car on pit road. Got a little sideways. He was coming in hot, but he was able to control it. So that's going to be our first taker coming down pit road. But as I was mentioning, that 15 last time, you know, last run, Jeremy, as he was following off, we're kind of seeing a little bit of that happen again here as this run's coming towards the end before these green flag pit stops.
Yeah, which should be coming up here real shortly. I think I see a couple people chatting. Can't hear them for sure, but we might see some more green flag stops. And yep, the 47 Ryan Hendricks slowing down right in front of second place. Nicholas Moreau is able to bring his car to pit road safely. So that's your the car 1 lap down. The first one 1 lap down. He is now giving up that position to make his green flag stop. So we're going to see a lot of these 1 lap down cars probably make pit road real soon.
I try and make up as much ground as they can, see if they can gain some speed on these guys, maybe short pit them a little bit. Might pay off a little bit in the long run, but you're still going to have to hope for a yellow to get back up there. As we're looking at about 13 cars right now, on the lead lap. I think we're sitting with Tony Solari, and that's going to be your last car on the lead lap, I believe. So that's actually 12. We do have some pit stops going on, but before that, I believe we were sitting about 14 cars on the lead lap before the round of pit stops taken underway. As we see a couple coming off the pit road right now.
Yeah, the 97, Vachon, he kind of snuck into pit road himself. Short pitted the leaders here. He was in 4th place behind Wayne Grossi. So let's see what those few laps can do for that 97 machine. Maybe it'll get him temporarily out to the race lead or whatnot. But a few more guys coming in. I think we see Steve Loomis in the 17. He's making his pit road entrance. So green flag stops officially underway.
And we're seeing the difference again. Some of these guys on new tires to ones on older tires. We've got the 44 here, Chris Beck. He's got some fresh Goodyears on there, and he's tearing past some of these other guys. We see 2 on pit road right now. We've got a few more coming down. I think that's the 46 of Simon Maggins down, and then the 31 Alex Murphy is also down on pit road.
Temporary cluster here during turn number 3. We have the 37, 27, number 10, 19, 23. They're all like in a huge little bundle of cars here. 5 cars, and they're not coming down pit road. It's making it interesting. See the 27 come down pit road, looking like he almost gets down to speed just in time. The 98 as well. So a couple guys trying to eke it out any type of speed they can on entrance. And now we're 3 wide, exiting turn number 2, the 23, the 19 as well, and the 54 of Alan Crowell. So I got a little sketchy there. And they're still 2x2 and trying to go 3 wide here with Brody again with the 37 now in the mix.
Yeah, they got those fresh tires, and they're trying to make a move on it. And you see Brody there just on the outside, like, okay, I'm just hanging on, just getting through this one, getting back through. I got to make my pit stops here soon. You guys go ahead. But he's back up. I know we've had some pit stops, but him and Richie are back up into that top 5, and I wouldn't be surprised to see them come down pit road here shortly.
Yeah, it's all but a matter of time now. We know the 97's on a different stop strategy. He's about 4 or 5 laps into his run with the fresh set of tires. I think the 23 is calling on his pit stop this time. And it looks like he's going to make that attempt. Runs it a little high, but perfect entrance there. I thought he might have had a chance to overshoot it. 23 coming down, giving up 5th place. And Sherwood Wilford, the 33, also coming down pit road. He's going to give up 7th for his stop.
And we've been seeing about, Richie. I wouldn't be surprised to see Richie coming down this time by. He was, got off the gas heavily there in turn 2, backing, kicked out a little bit. Heard the tires squealing, but it sounds like he's still throttling down, Jeremy. He's going to go around one more time. But with these runs, we've been seeing 55 laps or so on these green flag runs, and right now where these guys are sitting, they're trying to have about a 50-lap shootout, and we know how Richie is as far as extending it as long as he can. He's probably looking to see if he can maybe do a 45 or so run. We'll see where he comes out, but right now they're sitting, about 50 laps right now is as far as they come in.
The 8 and the 15 are down pit road this time. You see it on your screen, and the 8 had a really conservative pit entrance, allowed that 15 to really bring them in nice and close here. And you see it on the screen. They're all within the same pane, same window view. So you can get on the track the quickest without getting loose. And now see what the gap looks like between those two. You see the 7 right now, Wayne Grassi in that Gator Racing Chevrolet. He's getting service from his crew right now. He gave up 3rd place to come down to pit road.
I think that's what happened the first pit stops as well. I think the 8 there, Paul, just being a little bit conservative coming down pit road, and that had him lose a little bit of ground, and I think the same thing as well. But he's still, a second ahead of Nicholas even after that pit stop. So this is what Paul needed. He's got a second on him now. He was a second before they came down pit road. So he's starting it off early with a great run here. So all he's got to do is get around these couple lap cars and have some smooth sailing, finish this lap, green flag run, hopefully. He's hoping at least that way. I know some of these guys are hoping we see a yellow, but they're hoping to keep this thing green the whole way through.
I was curious to know how Jonathan Vachon, how his short pit was going to work, and right now it did not work in his favor. He exited the track still behind the 15 of Nicholas Moreau, the number 8 of Paul Bergoli. So temporarily moves himself up to about 4th place or so, which I think he came down at 4th or 5th. So no positions really gained, and now he's got 5-lap older tires than these guys. So he's going to feel it over the course of the next 50 laps.
See him going around these lap cars here. He's got a little bit of bow. He's going to have to go past both of them. Goes around one, no problem. Looking at the 50 here, Martin Garreau. See if he can get around him as well. But Jeremy, right behind him, Nicholas Moreau. That's it. Was able to close the gap as he's trying to get around these lap cars.
If he can take care of those rear tires, I think he has something for him. He's in the wake of his draft right now. Gets a better launch off of turn number 4 than Paul does. So I think if the 15 can keep that car underneath him, this is going to be a pretty good show here for the next few laps.
I'd like to see him kind of hold off those tires as much as he can. Maybe just sit behind Paul, see what lines that he's running. I know he's been probably doing that most of the night as we've been sitting behind him, but maybe save on to. Ooh, we see the 44. Ooh, right behind those guys. You can see him almost lost it there, locked up the tires, was able to save it and keep on going, and that was a close call there.
Yeah, no kidding, right? You don't want to see that because you're on fresh set of tires. You don't want to ruin your tires for the remainder of the race. This is the last one unless there's a caution. So try to keep that thing underneath you. That's going to be key here to finishing out this race in particular. But still heavy battle. Now we got to go through lap traffic. Just got around the 17 to 37 now. Brian Dublais being passed on the outside by your race leaders as they are just nose to tail dicing and weaving through everybody. Now they got another car coming up from them. That's going to be, it looks like the number 10 there of Chapman is the next victim in line.
It's a great to watch that as they were cutting through the field on those lap cars, and you could see it right there, Jeremy, on that entrance to turn 1 there. And Nicholas was a little bit higher when he came in as he entered 1 and wasn't able to hold on to it, kind of had to get out of the throttle just a little bit, lost some ground, but recovered great there in 3 and 4 as he's right back on the rear bumper of the 8 cars. Are heading into turn 1 and 2, and you're going to have, like you mentioned, that lap car right in front of him. So let's see if they can maneuver their way around him as well.
15 with a great launch there off a 2, and now side by side, but the 10's going to have to move or the 15's going to have to give. And looks like it's a combination of both. The 15 backs down, goes single file with the 8. The 10 now is just going to get passed up through 3 and 4. Back to single file action, but nobody now in front of that 8. So now the 15 can really get focused and see where he's going to be able to beat this 8 car.
Yeah, Nicholas saw what he needs to do right there. Had a great run as they were coming off of 2. Just unfortunate timing there, but he was definitely had the momentum going, and that was the way to do it. So he's going to learn from that, I believe, and try to make that pass again. We're on, 125 right now, so we're coming up to about 40 laps to go or so. As he's looking on the outside again of that 8 car, Jeremy, as they're heading down in turn 1.
That 15 can just drive up a little bit further on the corner exit, able to make it stick with a great launch. We just don't know what that tire wear looks like if they can able to hold it without sliding the nose, because ultimately that's going to be your best friend, is to not slide any tire in any part of the corner. But the 15 going back to the middle upper groove, we saw him do that in the first quarter of this race, and it seemed to work quite well for him. But now being in second place, he's no longer playing defense. He's playing offense. He got him a great launch there that time, but I don't know if that's going to be the right move to get to his door panel.
He's going to be trying hard here as he's getting another great run as they're coming off of 2. He's going to get right on the rear bumper. I mean, we might lose that thing for just a second, but as you see the 8 drive it down in there again, and Nicholas gets a great run, Jeremy, as he's coming off of 4. Got a little squirrely there as he hit the white paint. That's going to move you up, but he didn't lose too much ground on him, but definitely lost his momentum in the corner, but he's trying to bring it back.
And as this race continues, we're going to actually keep you guys picture in picture so we don't miss any action of this awesome race right now. We're going to do one last quick commercial break, and we'll be right back after a few short messages.
No rear grip whatsoever. Up sideways. Sideways everywhere. Come on, man. Do what you can. The vibration in this car is the worst vibration that I've ever had, and the shifter's broken again.
And welcome back to full screen mode here for the Full Throttle Sim Racing Mach-1 Performance Cup Series. And this is the first caution flag this evening presented by Roasted Gems Coffee. And did not expect a single caution tonight, King. And we have one now currently on lap number 133 of schedule 167. So this is that moment. This is that time where to reset throw everything you have at the car in pit road and take your chance at the victory lane.
Yeah, and the caution comes out by your pole sitter there, 97. Jonathan was putting it in the wall going to 1-2, kind of blinked out on my screen, so I couldn't tell exactly what happened. I just see him up against the wall in 1 and 2, but yeah, pole sitter going to bring the first caution out.
So you're telling me he's got that same connection set up to him when he hit the wall, he just decides to blink out at the right moment?
You know, maybe I have it. I don't know, but I lost him. Yeah, as soon as he's hit the wall, I lost it.
No, we all concur. We all lost it as well. Just super convenient. It's going to make the replay, not so entertaining to watch there. But we did see some smoke. We did see the car shift up the track, so we know there was something there. And it carried all the way through turn number 2, and it did bring out the caution for the first time this evening. I think Lucky Dog might go to the 12. Yep, there he goes. The 12 is your lucky dog. Hashtag get a grip. For getting your lucky dog. Probably the only one tonight, I would imagine. Presented by Martin Sports. So go ahead and get yourself a grip, get your lap back, and see if you can make the most of that. Starting back in 14th, it looks like, when this thing cycles through the green flag.
Yeah, I'm excited for this restart, Jeremy, to see where all these drivers will funnel around. And, with the Brody Hanna, as we mentioned, he's sitting in 5th place. He's had a great car tonight. More so on the long run, so that we'll see what happens there. But it'd be nice to see some of these guys get bunched back up here and have a little shootout here towards the end.
Shootout, it definitely will be. I'm kind of curious how, because it's not really like a super long run now. Now you're going to have 30 laps instead of a 45, 50, 55 lap run. So you kind of have to, do something a little different this time around. And looking back, I'm seeing, we're going to see a lot of cars waved around here. A lot of cars had me confused. In front of the 8 car, your 8 car is the race leader. But if you count, I think there's, 10 to 12 cars that are being all pulled around around the lap, or on the track rather, when the one to go is signaled. So that will zoom the 8, the 15, the 7, which I think the 7 might have a really decent chance here. And the 23 of Brody Hanna, he's had the really long run car. He's going to have to shift a lot of things in that machine to make the short run happen and see if he can get himself into the podium.
Coming around, like you said, to about 30 laps to go or so, or just under that, once these guys take the green flag. So gonna change up the strategy a little bit, and cautions breed cautions sometimes, we've seen too, Jeremy. So there could be a chance these guys are going, they're got the opportunity, got some fresh tires, and they're gonna be pushing it. So we might be seeing some cars bouncing off each other, and there's a chance that we might see another one of these, but I hope not. I hope we kind of keep this thing going, green flag to the end, and nice hard battling, because I think the 8 and the 15, we see them, they're kind of in the class of the field. 7, Wayne, he's been pretty strong too, but I'd like to see those 2 guys kind of battle it out to the end, as they've been doing all day.
That's going to be very entertaining. I know that 15's been running a little stronger on the top. He's going to be starting on the top lane too, so if he can match the restart speed that Paul brings, maybe when they get to turn 3 and 4, the 15 of Nicholas Moreau might have the advantage off the corner exit. We're going to be watching out for that. Maybe we'll see a surprise here that's in 6th or 7th. They'll maybe move through the field like a Richie Coy did on the opening start. Maybe try to pass 3 or 4 cars at one time to get themselves set up for at least a top 5, if not podium as well. But outside of that, I think the guys up front are basically it. We've seen the speed all race long from the 8, 15, the 7. 27's been hit or miss, and of course 23's been there. So overall, I think you guys are in for a great race here for the final 30 laps. These guys getting all side by side here. Will this restart go to plan for the 8 car? Will he get the jump that he needs to? They go on green flag, but maybe, just maybe, you can catch the 15 sleeping somehow. Maybe we'll see Wayne Grossi take great advantage of a good restart from the 8 car. Brody Hanna's super hungry right now. Super curious how that 23 is going to be doing here. as they get to the green flag and through the first few laps, because that car is slower on the short run. But if you can change up some things, maybe we'll see a 23 we have not seen before on the short run, to have some excellent speed to keep up, get himself into podium position, which he's just 2 positions away from. Here as the pace car is getting ready, dip down. Going to have 30 laps remaining when the green flag flies. Just waiting for premature Patrick to throw that green flag. Maybe for the final time. We'll find out. Green flag is officially out. The 8 gets a misshift there. The 15 actually launches and beats the 8 to the line. But I think virtue of the 8 having a misshift there, it's going to be no penalty. 15 with an excellent launch there as they go side by side through 1 and 2.
Right there, just took the air off of the 8 car, and I think it might even took it off. And you see the 7 making a run on the inside. And Brody Hanna's going right behind the 7. He's going to push it. These guys are all over the place, Jeremy. I'm not sure who to keep an eye on as they're all diving in there. As you see the 14 almost into the outside walls ahead in the turn 3 and 4. But the 15, Nicholas Moreau's making out the best out of all this, who's taking the lead away from everybody and trying to check out as much as he can.
You got really bundled up there in 3 and then bleeding off into 4th, or turn 4 rather, and it's still kind of on the bottom, a little congested. Nicholas Moreau with a great advantage, 1 lap from the start, and now we got a 5 to 6 car length advantage over second place Paul Vergoli. Third place Wayne Grossi still continuing there, only 2 to 3 car lengths back, and then side by side for 4th, 5th, and 6th and 7th.
And if we don't forget, Jeremy, at the start of this race, Nicholas Moreau had a great car. Probably within those first 30 laps or so, he was able to maintain a lead. So maybe this is what he wanted. Maybe this is just perfect in his wheelhouse of what he needs. If we can keep this green flag run, 27 laps to go here. We're on lap 140, and he's pulled over half a second here on Paul. So this could be what Nicholas needed to try and seal the deal. But Paul's definitely not going to let him get away. He's going to try and run him back down.
Also, that 67 James Wallace up 2 spots from that restart there. Currently running P4, and to the back bumper of the 7 has to check up just a little bit because he got really close to the back bumper through the quad oval section. You don't want to play any bumper tag through there, but he gets a great launch through turn 1 and 2. Now back to the bumper once again. Kind of looks slow. The 7 Wayne Grossi also looks slow and says, hey, you're not taking that spot from me, at least not just yet. And the 67 said, okay. James Wallace to the outside trying to make that pass happen.
James Wallace is, he's your biggest mover tonight. He's up 22 spots. Didn't qualify, start 26 and sitting in 4th, and he's 4th in the points right now as well. So this is right where he wants to be. He doesn't want to lose a spot here to Brody Hanna, who we knows once he gets that car rolling later in the run, he's starting to pick up as well. So don't let Brody get by you, because he might, if he gets around Wayne, Jeremy, that Brody's going to be one I'm going to keep an eye on. I don't know if he's got enough of these top 2, but he's definitely got it for the podium.
And he's all but past that 67 now. He's going to have that advantage here, I think, entering turn number 1. That will have him clear. The 27 of Varnaskis kind of assisting him just enough, maybe, but the 7 checked him up. There's no grip on that top side, or at least the middle of turn 1 and 2. Brody Hanna resumes in 4th.
Great pass there, as these guys are still battling side by side right behind the 67 and the 27. Fighting it out. James Wallace and the 67's trying to stay on that outside and just do as much as he can to gain some spots or not lose as many. As you see Brody right here on the outside, Jeremy, of the 7, Wayne trying to go around him as they're heading in the 1. That's going to put him into that 3rd spot. Brody needs to try and see if he can get around him and make it happen quick if he wants a chance to run down these top 2.
Tricky part of the track to try to pass at. Makes turn 1 look really good, but turn 2 had to check up, and the 67 really had to check up there on corner exit. Couldn't tell if exactly if he hit the wall from my camera angle, but 23 is going to have to resume and try to figure out how to get around the 7. He's just so much faster. That time through there, just all over the back bumper, and maybe gets to the inside just enough. Excellent move there by Brody, as he's trying to take over 3rd place now.
Yeah, it was a close call. I was wondering if he was maybe going to put some of those tires off through the grass and make that pass on the inside, but Wayne gave him just enough room on the inside, and that's going to put Brody on by him. And you see Jonathan here in the 27 trying to make a pass as well, follow Brody Hanna into there. And take that spot, and that's not what Wayne wants. Wayne might actually lose 3 spots, Jeremy, on this lap, as you see the 98 now with Chris Curtis going below him.
The outside freight training has begun here. The inside is pretty congested. The 98, the 19, and the 67 now. Trying to get around that number 7 as well. 27 actually keeping up quite surprisingly with the 23, and that being Varnaskis behind Brody Hanna. That's for third and fourth place. Third place is your podium finish, so it might not show up on the stat board, but that's still quite an important spot for these drivers, as they have now 21 laps to go.
Yeah, this top 5 too, I mean, has been pretty consistent most of the race. They all started in the top 5 or so and kind of been running up in there as well. Brody, you know, of course, is that surprise that's squeaking through there. And then we mentioned James Wallace as well. He's lost a couple spots, but they're here to break up the party. As we see these top 2, Jeremy, Nicholas has almost pulled a whole second here on Paul. As this run is kind of getting deeper into it, we're 20 laps to go coming across the line. So we've got 20 laps for Paul to figure out what he needs to do, get back up there. And he lost about another 10th that lap, so he's just under a second back. And you see Brody Hanna about 2 seconds back of him. So I still think it's going to come down to the 15 and 8. It's just a matter of time and see how long until the 8 gets up there.
I'm going to have to agree, and I think the 23 just needs a few more extra laps tacked on to the end of this thing before he starts showing his true speed right now. But he's just matching the lap times of the leaders, which is not going to get you there when you're under 20 laps to go. But still a decent race here from 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th. They're all within one car length, still trying to get around who they can. The 7 of Wayne Grossi just throws it in deep into turn number 1, makes it stick, and now he's only 1 car length away from the 27.
Keeping it close here in this little pack of 5 cars, sitting from 3rd on back to 7th. They're all within a car length or so of each other and trying to find any ground that they can on these guys. As we mentioned earlier in the race, it's definitely a difficult place to pass here around Texas, but they're trying to make it happen. As we see right behind Jonathan there, 7 of Wayne, he's trying to make his way back into it. He's looking on the inside.
Yep, trying to get underneath him. That's going to be for 4th place if he can make that pass happen. 27 barely gives him enough space, and the 7 is timid, but he's looking. And just exit turn number 4 is actually going to play a little bit into his favor. The 19 Richie Coy moves up high to try to help the 27. Draft does play a small factor when you're on a faster track like this. But right now they're still side by side for 4th.
I just want to mention real quick as well, Jeremy, the 15 Nicholas Moreau, last 2 laps, he has ran his fastest laps of the race. Oh, I'm sorry, that was in practice. I apologize for that. When we go back to actually when he ran his fastest lap, which was about 10 laps ago, but I knew it was close. But he's been kind of pretty consistently running those faster laps. Yes, he's lost a couple over the last 10, but he just ran his fastest lap within the last 10 laps ago. So he's definitely trying to put down a blistering pace as he's pulled a whole second now over Paul.
Yeah, and going through all these guys so far, the top 3, actually the top 4, all their fastest lap times are on the same lap 140. So for some reason they found that speed there. And I think that was the first time that Wayne Grossi, first time the whole race, Wayne Grossi cracked underneath a 30-second lap time at a 29.967. That's going to play partly into the cooler track surface. Only 82 degrees right now on the track. Was 98 or 96, right around there when we started. So a 15-degree difference on the surface. Will definitely promote some faster cars, and maybe that's why we're seeing a little bit of a different situation with some of these guys. 15 had to figure out how to drive the car on a cooler surface. It looks like he's finally figured it out as we're coming up with 14 laps to go now.
Yeah, and some of these faster cars are around each other. They're kind of pushing each other a little bit harder, so that's going to contribute to that faster speed as well. And I think that was just right after the restart, so not surprised to see all those guys run the same fastest one in the time. But Jerry, we're going to have some battling here. We see the 8 making up some ground. I mean, he was that's just over a second back a couple laps ago. Now he's kind of cracked up inside that, and even on that one right there, he's gained another 10th on him. So coming almost to 10 laps to go, and the 8's making his move up.
Yeah, we see the 8 catching the 15. We're also seeing Sherwood Williford making a couple spots up. Now he's in 7th place as he just now gets around the 98 with Mr. Chris Curtis and James Wallace trying to follow suit. We have the race in the eyes for most of us now are on the top 2. As we are watching those lap times, Paul is edging out the 15 the past 2 or 3 laps. So we might see that shift in speed here that we saw at the end of the first run before pit stops happened. He got 13 laps to figure this out, or 12 laps now. So I think the 8 has enough time. He just, as I've said before, keep those tires cool enough to kind of, hold them off there at the end. But this is going to come down to a really awesome race, I think.
Yeah, I think he actually might catch him here sooner than later, Jeremy. He gained a 10th.5 on that last lap on him. This time by, he's also going to pick up a little bit of ground, picked up about another 10th on him as well. So, he could be there within a matter of a lap or two. It's just kind of getting around him, and we know Nicholas isn't going to make it easy for him. He's gonna be trying to hold him off as much as he can. We're coming up to 10 laps to go. Got about half a second back, so Paul's definitely got the time and the speed. It's just he's got to put it all together. We saw him kind of get a little low there. I think he lost a little speed there in 4, but he knows I can't be making those kind of mistakes, so he's going to try and roll back in. I think they kind of evened out on that last lap there. Yeah, he actually lost a little bit of ground. I think it was kind of there in 3 and 4 when he hit the white line, but gained it all back a little bit in 1.
Gained it in 1, but then he had to overshoot the entrance into turn number 2, and it checked him up just a little bit. My thought process goes back also to the first run when these guys were side by side. That 15 had the top side of 3 and 4 working really well in the defensive line. So if the 8 can get to the 15, does he try something different, or does he go back to the bottom and see if the 15 can defend just like he did, 100 laps ago? So as is, now we're officially under 10 laps to go here. The 8's actually fallen off a little bit, Ken. I think he's kind of overheated the right front there, sliding the turn 1 the past couple laps. This might put a damper on this finish that he was hoping for.
Just thinking the same thing. I watched him go into turn 1 past 2 laps, and he definitely drove it in there. I think, like I said, he just overheated a little bit, and you can see him have to check up and push up towards the wall a little bit. And these last couple laps, so they've been running about the same lap time. So, not gaining any ground for Paul and not losing any ground for Nicholas here. And that's what Nicholas wants, but not what Paul wants. So we still got a couple laps here. I mean, we're under 10 to go. We got coming to 7 laps to go here, and Paul's still trying to make it happen, but he's gonna have to cool those tires off and maybe try and give it one last go. And right behind them, you see Brody Hanna. He's actually went ahead and cleared those guys as well, Jeremy. So he's trying to get that podium with his teammate Richie Coy right behind him.
I watched Paul go through turn 1 the last lap prior, and it stuck to the bottom. This time he gained a 10th over Nicholas Moreau in that 15. So maybe, just maybe, he still has a slight chance. Don't forget on the guys, further in back there, the 7 and the 19. Those guys are nose to tail. That is for, 5th and 4th place. Then Sherwood Williford, who's coming in pretty fast here, that 33, he's wanting to crack inside the top 5 as that red and black number 33 Chevrolet Camaro is making some gains late in this run.
He's trying to move up as much as he can, and this finish, Jeremy, it might be playing out as you were thinking. It'd be a pretty close finish. He's gaining a little bit of ground. I think he's just got to hit turn 1 and 2 a lot better, like you mentioned the last couple of laps. We see the 44 here on the inside. I see some smoke in front of these guys too as they're coming by. I believe that's the 18 of Brian Bliss coming back down pit road. I'm not sure if he was blowing up or not, but did see some smoke on the inside. But he's down, no caution, still keep it green. Hey, how you doing? Let's keep moving.
Yeah, it was 18 just locking it up, trying to get down to speed at the right time. And the 8 made another 10th on the 15 this time around. They're getting around the number 50 of Martin Garreau through turn number 3. The 8 had a much better entrance into 1 than the 15 did this current lap. And now, as you see, they are really close on the screen here, coming up with 4 laps to go here. 0.359 separate the top 2.
He's gaining in, turn 1 and 2, Jeremy. That's where he's making up all that ground. I think you got to look back, as you mentioned. If he is going to challenge him, I think Nicholas needs to give him the bottom and just try and use that high side as he did before when they were trying to make the pass on that first green flag run, and see if he can hold him off. I mean, we're coming to just a couple laps to go. If he does get there, I think that's the move I would be making as well, is kind of ride that high side out as we see him gain just a little bit of more ground there. The 8 car did, but he's driving in the 1 and 2 and gaining the ground. He's just got to make it stick.
And that time he did not overshot the entrance. Have to check up here for exit, and you can visually see it, at least depending on what camera angle you're looking at. He lost a little bit down the backstretch, so he's going to have to really hold that white line as we're now coming up to 2 laps to go here at Texas.
2 laps to go. I don't know if Paul's going to have enough. I mean, I'm pretty sure he's going to throw it down in there in one of these, this lap or the next lap at least. He's got a 3.5 second lead over third place, so he might as well give it a shot. But he hit the wall there as they're coming off the 2, Jeremy. I think that might seal it up there for the 15 of Nicholas Moreau. 8 there, Paul was just pushing it a little bit too hard, trying to catch up, and just barely tagged into that wall coming off the 2 as we come into the white flag.
White flag, 1 more to go, and Paul Bergoli knew that was one of his last opportunities, just to try to force the issue, because the 15 this run has been super stout. But it looks like, with that last-ditch effort, it is all but signed, sealed, and delivered. Got a half a track left for that 15, Nicholas Moreau. He's going to come through turns 3 and 4, right in the bottom. Super smooth. I've not seen him get loose all run long. That colder track and maybe a track adjustment has helped him. But Nicholas Moreau coming off of turn number 4. Your Martin Sports winning moment checker flag goes to Nicholas Moreau there in that 15.
Great battle between those 2. Paul definitely had a good car, but Nicholas overall just had it towards the end and the beginning. And, look at Brody making up 16 spots to come home in the podium finish for 3rd. And he's going to gain a couple points on his teammate there. Richie Coy gained 2 spots on him.
And that pass happened not too terribly long ago, about 15 laps ago prior, and he muscled his way through there to get into the top 3. 19th to 3rd. That is your hard charger race reward recipient, really, compared to, James Wallace did an awesome job as well, 26th to 9th, so can't forget about him. But 19th to 3rd, that's something superior there from that 23.
Oh, absolutely. That was a great run for those guys. As we mentioned, we get to talk to Brody again on one of these next-gen cars and with another podium finish.
We'll watch the 15 do his burnouts here. And while we do that, we're going to kick it over to the unofficial results tonight here from the Texas Motor Speedway. Nicholas Moreau, he won. Second place, Paul Bergoli, who is now finished first, and second so far in the first 4 races. Brody Hand is going to come home in 3rd. Wayne Grossi does finish out in 4th. Richie Coy, 5th place. Sherwood Williford in 6th. Jonathan Varanauskas in 7th. Chris Curtis in 8th. James Wallace 9th. And to round out tonight's top 10, Josh Mayu.
Home in 11th is Tony Sawari, who gained up some ground there late in the race. That's good points day for him. 12th is going to be Chad Lang. 13th, Alex Murphy. 14th is Martin Garreau. 15th, Ryan Chapman. 16th is going to be Wayne Allen. Coming home with 17th, Brian Dubois. 18th is going to be Ryan Hedrick. 19th is David Courier. And 20th is Stan Carnathan.
21st will be Justin Diltz. 22nd, Joshua Johnson. Finishing in 23rd, Steve Loomis. 24th will be Stephen Lou Allen. 25th, Simon Magden. 26th place, Casey McMullen. 27th, Alan Crowell. 28th, Chris Beck. 29th, Brian Bliss. 30th, Jonathan Varanauskas. And around out tonight's 31 car field, Gil Gog. And that will bring us to a quick commercial break as we get a hold of these top 3, see if we can't get a word with them. So we'll be right back with you guys after a few short messages.
No rear grip whatsoever. Up sideways everywhere. on, man. Do what you can. The vibration in this car is the worst vibration that I've ever had, and the shifter's broken again.
And welcome back, guys, for the post-race show presented by Martin Sports. And we got a couple people that we'd like to talk to. Always, we start off with third place. We're going to see if we can't get a hold of Mr. Brody Hanna, who started 19th. Wasn't sure what was going on there in the qualifying effort. But at the end of the day, Brody Hanna coming home in P3. How you doing today, man?
Oh, doing good. I'm wore out.
I believe it. There were some times where I thought, I was watching like the 3-wide racing.
I think we lost it for a second. Yeah, no, it was a great run.
There we go.
Okay.
Computer issues, technology, right? I was saying you had some issues where like there's some 3-wide battles in front of you, and you were trying to navigate that through there, and it got a little sketchy. But all in all, you had a really bad fast car. I was hoping the short run car would work for you because it seemed like the long run was preferred. How are you able to bring it home in third place?
Well, that was the thing. It seemed pretty good on the long run. It was honestly a little too tight on the short run, and then the second run for some reason got really loose. But well, it got pushed loose, I guess. It was tight and then loose. But anyway, yeah, I mean, it was a solid night. I wanted to come in tonight and score some points, make sure we got a solid points night because with the playoffs, I know we've got Talladega, then the Roval coming up, and you never really know what you're going to get there. So I just wanted to have a good points night. End up third. I'm really happy with that. It's kind of was something we experimented with as well, kind of last minute, trying to see if we could find something that had speed that would hold speed through the run. Worked out. It was okay. It wasn't a race winning car. I mean, I was kind of maintaining there for a little while with the guys up front, but it wasn't in the ballpark with Paul or Nick up there.
But it was still pretty fast. I mean, that was impressive. We loved watching you coming through the field. We weren't counting you out when we saw you starting at 19th, and you did gain a couple spots on Richie there, 2 points it looks like. And I know Talladega is kind of can be up in the air, but you with Tony and Richie have a great chemistry as far as with restrictor plates. So I think you're gonna have a good strategy going on that one, and possibly another good points day. The only problem is you're battling your teammate Richie there for it.
Yeah, and again, like I said, my focus is more on the playoff side of things, not necessarily the point side of things, just because with that terrible with the technical issues we had at Darlington, we were kind of out of it at that point with only 10 races. So it is what it is. Like I said, we just wanted a good points night for that and kind of move on to the next round of the playoffs, hopefully. But yeah, I mean, as far as qualifying goes, again, I got loose coming out of 4, coming to the the second lap. I don't know what it is. Anyway, I had to start over and the thing's faster on the second. It would not go in the first lap, so I knew it was going to be terrible. It's not where I wanted to start, right there in the middle of the pack, actually towards the back. But to come from 19th to 3rd, I'm happy with that. We had a good solid car, and it worked out.
Yeah, with everything considered, 19 to 3rd alone, I would say is a victory in my book, especially racing with some of these fast guys out here on the track each and every week. But yeah, congratulations on P3, all that hard fought work you did to get up there. Any last thoughts before we let you go this evening?
Yeah, no, I mean, I was there at the end, man. It was tough. I know Wayne had a faster car. The 7 car was definitely faster than I was right now. Probably the 19 as well. Just doing everything I could to try to keep that position. And I kind of hate racing like that. But if you don't, you get swallowed up and gobbled up. So yeah, we'll move on to Talladega. Looking forward to Talladega, actually. We got some fast cars, but you never really know what's going to happen at Talladega. I got to thank you guys for the broadcast. Thank everybody. We had a great run, a great race tonight overall. 1 caution, and I'm looking, and I can't even tell what the caution's for. It was kind of a mystery caution. I don't know if you guys know. But anyway, great job by everybody in the race tonight. Kept it straight. This car's not easy to drive here, so everybody did a great job. Got to thank the team, Fury Motorsports. Got to thank Richie, Tony, and everybody for all the work. So looking forward to it. I appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Talladega will be a bunch of fun, and I think that they've fixed the drafting a little bit. It seems like it's more racier from the testing that I've done. So, really looking forward to tomorrow or next week, rather. But go and celebrate with the team, man, for a hard fought third place.
All right, appreciate it, guys. Have a good one.
Yes, sir. And that was your third place, Mr. Brody Hanna. On that 23 Ford Mustang. And now it's time to talk to second place, Mr. Paul Bergoli, who's found himself a little comfortable here. 4 weeks and 4 interviews. Mr. Paul, how's it going?
Hey guys, how you doing?
Doing pretty good up here. Excellent job. Congrats on second place. At times it looks like you had the car to beat, and at times the 15 kind of stole that thunder from you. I know the track changed about 15 to 17 degrees difference on the surface from start to finish. Just kind of walk us or recap your night, and what kind of changes did you make to the car to maintain a really strong second place car?
Oh, I really just played with some air pressure there. I wasn't too sure what to do. I knew we had the long run car. I just needed to wait it out, and hopefully it worked out. And that late race caution didn't do us any favors, but to get back in dirty air with this thing, it was hard to drive. But go home with the second. I'll take it.
Yeah, you can definitely see anyone trying to make a pass tonight was a little bit difficult when they got into that dirty air. And we saw you making ground there, entering one. You had a good drive in the one, if it stuck or not. And we saw that last little push you had there just kind of touched the wall a little bit. But I feel like if that thing would have stuck maybe just a couple more laps, you'd have been right on the back bumper of him as those laps were ticking down, because that car was starting to come in, it looked like.
Oh yeah, I was giving it everything I had, but yeah, man, I had to push a little harder than those tires could handle. But yeah, I'll take a second. I'm not complaining.
I think Justin Allgaier last week at Bristol keyed the phrase "dirty air sucks." So I think that's something that you're going to steal from him.
Yeah,
for
that's
tonight.
the truth. I'll take it.
Absolutely, man. But the floor is yours. Final thoughts of this evening before we let you go tonight.
Yeah, well, I appreciate Nick for the clean racing, man. We were nose to tail most of the time. Team Watson for bringing another quick setup, and Lifted Maid for keeping me up high, man. And that's about it. You guys for doing a good job, and my wife for watching.
She's definitely been a good cheerleader on the chats each and every week so far. Hopefully she keeps it up, and hopefully you keep performing for her. It seems like it's a great team combination. But go ahead and celebrate the rest of the night, Paul.
Yeah, man. You guys have a good one.
You too. And that was your second place finisher, Mr. Paul Bergoli. Just can't find himself outside of third place or even second place to this point, almost halfway through this 2022 season. But now it's time to bring in Mr. Nick Moreau, the challenger for the points battle with Paul, able to edge out a few points from Paul tonight. Congratulations on your win, Nick.
Thank you, guys.
Just recap us through the night. There were some times where you had the 15 or the 8's number there on the middle of the groove, which is surprising enough. You're able to hold them off. And then you got separated a little bit. And I thought maybe Paul had it. And then that caution came out and your car was back to where it was on the first restart. It just took off like a rocket ship. Was that kind of like your game plan, or did you have to adjust the car accordingly?
Both, I'd say, because I knew that I was fast for a short and mid run. I was not sure about the long run here, but Paul, it was not enough for Paul, obviously. But I was way too loose for the long run, so I tried to fix it on the green pit, and I did, but was not enough. I was still too loose, and yeah, the last caution gave me a change for the win for sure.
Yeah, definitely helped out getting that caution there with restarting with about 30 to go, because your car with the first 30 laps there was just on a rail to start of this race. And then, yeah, we noticed a little bit after that started getting loose there with that car, but that kind of played into your favor very well. So that was a great overall run. I believe it was between you and Paul the whole night. And yeah, that short run there was just able to bring it home. So great adjustment throughout the night there to keep it and bring it home.
Yeah, so I maybe I did too much, because at the end the track time dropped a lot, and I was afraid to get too much tight, and it was just to the limit, and I was like, I need to battle on the outside on the first lap and then get the pole and all in from there.
Well, you did a great job overall tonight. Congratulations once again on first place. Pretty impressive stuff, and maybe that'll kind of launch you into grabbing the championship lead, as it winds down the season. But floor is yours, man. Who do you have to thank out there tonight?
Yeah, I will say thanks to Transit, EasyWeb Pro, Lassie Sport, and La Voie Agricole. And congrats to Paul. What a race. Great battle, clean race. I followed him. He followed me and never touched together. So great race for him too. So thank you guys, and see you next week.
Yep. See you next week, man.
See ya.
And that was your race winner, Mr. Nick Moreau, with a not very eventful lead there as far as the stats go. Ford lead changes amongst 4 leaders. So the numbers kept kind of low, but that's typical for this new Texas surface there, Ken.
Yeah, hey, I appreciate the racing that we had tonight. It was a great group of racing, especially between those two. Made up for what we saw yesterday. So they put on a good performance, and hats off to basically all the top 3. Brody going up 16 spots, and then the 2 racing between Paul and Nicholas there was great to watch.
It really was, and that race right there, I think it was more fun than most of the actual race that happened yesterday in Texas. So shout out to FTSR for always putting on a great event. But I think this is that time of the night where we have to close down things. We got to thank our sponsors quickly one last time, because without them, we're not doing this for you guys, especially on this Monday night and every Monday night going forward with FTSR. FTSR.net. If you want to be a part of this 30-plus field car event every Monday, sign up, FTSR.net. Mach-1 Performance, official Cup Series sponsor. Head over to facebook.com/Mach-1 Performance and get your car signed up, registered today. If you need some repair work, they guys got you back. Sim Racing Points over at simracingpoints.com, official Truck Series sponsor. It's a league points management system like no other. Going to keep your league looking professional. If you want to check all their stuff out, FTSR uses it. Go to their website or to simracingpoints.com. Shout out to Martin Sports at martinsports906.com, home of these 7 gloves, and they make a lot of good custom apparel from the hat down to the waistline. So if you want to get your sim team or even actual softball team set up with a custom jersey, make martinsports906.com your home, and you super nerd at checkout for 25% off. Shout out to iRacing, iflag.com, flag marshaling system for the nerditudes. And if you want to complete your sim rig, this is the product you're going to need. iRacingIFlag.com, super nerd at checkout, 15% off. Thank you to the Butt Kicker as well. They are the audio enhancement provider, for your sim rig that you're going to want. It does more. It does a bunch of sounds. It gives you all the bumps and feels in the track. Everything that you're looking for in your sim rig. This is basically it, especially that Gamer 2 unit. So you're going to head over to thebuttkicker.com. Check out all their products. All of it doing a phenomenal job to kind of complete your sim rig. Moonlight Speed at moonlightspeed.com, official paved partner for us here at the Nerditudes headquarters. And if you're wanting to go from Advanced Legends all the way to the next gen cup cars, the Asphalt Oval, these guys got your back with some dominating setups. Once again, moonlightspeed.com. And then lastly, roastedgems.com. Those guys over there they have up to 4 to 5 different pages of really solid, great tasting coffee grounds. And they got a couple K-Cup options too for you guys with Keurigs, but they're grounds, a lot of flavors, and they are super delicious. So go ahead and start your day the right way with roastedgems.com. All right, guys, that's going to close it up tonight. For the Nerditudes at NERDtv, we're going to catch you guys next week, Monday, 9 p.m. Eastern at the Super Speedway of Talladega, where it's going to maybe shift up points or maybe extend things for Paul. Who knows? We'll find out then. Until then, guys, stay safe and make sure to get your nerd on.